Hey everyone, welcome to Steph and Key TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe and let me know what you thought of today's video. Alright, Orange County, let's get into it. So we are at the reunion, part 1. I don't know if there's a part 2. Let's pray that this is the only one. But we're at the reunion. Andy's going through, well, all the ladies are getting ready. You know, it's the same old stuff. Andy goes through each lady asking them how they're doing. Kelly's married. Shannon, it's got a 60s vibe going on. Emily looks great. She's lost some weight. She took her implants out and she feels better. Gina is the best dressed one there to me. She looks amazing. Yeah, she looks the best she's ever looked, I feel like, on this show. Bronwyn has some dominatrix look going on, and Elizabeth is there, and she looks fine. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the looks. I definitely feel like Gina is best dressed. Well, we start off with the Gina and Bronwyn package. It shows how they had a rocky start and then ended up being in a nice place. But then Andy asks about Gina's sad and depressing 1,600 square foot home. And she says, like, I love my home. I think everybody else does too. And they ask Shannon, like, you just kept saying nice, nice. Oh, it's nice when you were touring Gina's home. Did you really mean that? Or were you just, you couldn't think of anything else to say? And she's like, I complimented all parts of her house. I told John that I was proud of her for being an owner and stuff. And Gina even says she was genuine. And then Kelly jumps in and she says, I don't know why, like, all the heat is on Shannon. Bronwyn was the one who was trashing Gina's house. She was trashing her house to me and Shannon. And Emily is very upset and jumps in and she's like, yes, you did. You said it. Me and Kelly don't lie. You said it. And then, of course, Shannon has to jump in. I don't lie either, because it always has to be about her. So, okay, Shannon, you don't lie, whatever. But Emily was going to bat for Gina. That's her girl. And it's just a mess. Like, at this point, who cares? We all know that Bronwyn was talking trash about Gina's house. I really don't care anymore if Shannon did. It's like they're over it, so everybody else needs to be over it too. Andy asked Gina about the text message that she got from Sean. She interpreted as Sean saying, like, he just banged Bronwyn and now, like, hey, she's asleep now, so now I'm texting you. And I get that she feels that way because Sean and Bronwyn have threesomes and stuff, and maybe she thought Sean was inviting her to be a part of it, but he didn't say that. So I don't know. I mean, she feels weird about it, and that's how she feels. We can't, like, tell her how she feels, but I don't think he was trying to invite her over. He doesn't really seem to be too keen on the threesomes, especially when they linger too long. So I just don't think he was trying to invite Gina into it. He's like, I got enough to deal with Bronwyn. Emily is like a ride or die friend. Gina, like, I know they had problems last season. They need to never fight again because Emily is like, she goes to bat hard for Gina, and she's not having it. Anything that Bronwyn is dishing. They ask, like, how is Gina and Bronwyn's relationship now? They don't want to be friends, but they'll be there to support each other. So it's whatever. So we go through Shannon's package, and they're talking about her relationship and her oldest daughter, Sophie, her comments about John not being able to sustain Shannon financially and emotionally. And Shannon says she's outspoken. She gets it from Shannon. And she just says, you know, we had a rough period. And I guess when Shannon was trying to make it seem like everybody was getting along, the kids don't always like John, and I guess his kids don't always like Shannon. So it's still kind of, like, divided. So it's not all great going on in that relationship. Gina and Emily are just concerned for Shannon because they're trying to get her to understand, like, you paint this picture for us. You call us really drunk and hysterical and tell us how horrible your relationship is. And then the next day you act like you're fine and like we just made it up and you're like just skipping through the breeze in this relationship when you just like the night before told us how horrible it was. So Shannon's not getting it. She's not understanding it. She just wants people, I guess she just wants them to listen when she calls and not have an opinion and not have any concern and just just listen. But they're not going to do that. They have an opinion, they have concern, and they're going to address it. And Shannon, she's a lot, and I don't know if I could deal with that. The other weird thing is like Bronwyn is like laughing in the corner throughout this whole situation. It's really weird. It's really weird. She's weird. I don't know what's going on with that. So they asked Bronwyn if she feels like Shannon has a drinking problem. And she says yes. And I feel like we all do. We all feel like Shannon has a drinking problem. She is sloshed every season, and they always complain at every reunion about how Shannon calls them drunk and hysterical. So I'm not surprised by this, but Shannon's response is, I'm fun, but I'm not an alcoholic. Okay, Shannon. I don't know if she's an alcoholic, but she definitely has a drinking problem, allegedly. So they cut to Shannon and Bronwyn in their trailers. I guess they've taken a break. Shannon is on the phone with John. There is spit on her phone. Like, go back and watch it. There is a spittle mark on her phone. I was like, ew. But she's very I'm sorry, I could not see it. She's very upset, and she's talking to John and about Bronwyn and about the whole situation that they keep bringing up. And although I feel like Shannon has a drinking problem, what John said I felt was really interesting. He called Bronwyn a sober alcoholic. And I don't know, I kind of feel like that's true. I feel like Bronwyn is sober, but she is acting very much like she did when she was an alcoholic, and just like except for like being fun sloppy mess, she's like an angry mess and lashing out at everybody, talking about people, being manipulative, being sneaky, being very abrasive and aggressive, and it's just like, whew. I feel like that is like the perfect term for her. Meanwhile, in Bronwyn's trailer, Sean is there as her personal cheerleader to tell her how great her ass looks. And I'm just like, Sean is never getting out of this horrible toxic relationship. Like, he's never getting out. He's never getting out. It's sad. But before we go back, Shannon says to John that if this keeps going on, I'm going to bring up what Bronwyn said, I believe to Stella, what Bronwyn said to Stella, one of Shannon's daughters. So we're going to see that coming up. I'm pretty sure, because, I mean, if she's already, like, mentioning it, she's going to say it. So we're definitely going to see it. So they just do this, like, montage of everybody going through 2020 and having to deal with the pandemic. And when it's all done, Andy asks, like, what everyone's most looking forward to. They all say traveling. All of a sudden, Kelly starts coughing. And everyone's like, you can't cough anymore, especially when you're in an environment where we're supposed to be cautious. It was hilarious. I'm sorry. Like, perfect timing. Oh, so Kelly. Andy, they go through her package. Andy asks her all these questions about how she was a hot mess on social media and saying all these horrible things about the pandemic. She takes no responsibility. She even tries to throw it back on him and say, well, I have people telling me that you're anti-American because you don't like Donald Trump. It's just like, and then like, he stays on her, but I don't feel like he's being hard enough. I feel like he was a lot harder on Candace and Monique, he's being very gentle with Kelly. And Kelly is a nightmare on social media. The screenshots of the things that she was saying. And then he's like, and then your mom ends up in the hospital with COVID. And she was like, no, she wasn't in the hospital because of COVID. So she didn't have COVID? Well, she did have COVID. It's like, okay, Kelly. And then she starts to get all like victim mode and like, what do you want me to do? And it's like, we want you to own up to your horrible behavior. Apologize and not do it again. Like, why is that so hard? You monster. Ugh. So wow, we already knew that Shane had a hard time, but like we get a little more backstory. I guess he was like texting his oldest daughter, telling her like goodbye. Like he really thought he was gonna die, and I feel like it just shows like the gravity of this disease. It is killing people, and you could die from it no matter like your age, and you think that you're super healthy, but you just never know like what this virus can do. So it's wild to see how like it really affected someone we're watching like on TV. I mean, of course people are being affected personally, but you know, you sometimes feel like these people on TV are untouchable, but that it was really wild. So Bronwyn, shut up. She was being all nice and quiet, but then like they do Elizabeth's package and she bursts into tears. She's crying because she was very upset that the women kept asking about their sex life. But then they're like, you know, but you were talking about how much you love your husband and you're still trying to get back with him. You sent him texts, so it was very weird. And she says, I'll always love him. He provided me this great lifestyle. Then Bronwyn jumps in and says, well, I actually know your ex-husband. My girlfriend is his fiance. And everybody's like, wait, what? And even Elizabeth was like, no, he doesn't have a fiance. And she was like, well, my girlfriend been traveling around with him. They've been together for 5 years and they have a different story. And so then Shannon's like, see, this is what I said. This is why I said what I said about you, Bronwyn. You look into rumors. I didn't tell you to look into this. You look into rumors. And now they're all jumping on her. They're like, why are you, like, talking to her ex-husband? Bronwyn should have just kept her mouth shut, but she doesn't seem to be able to do that. They're just going around and around in a circle. Elizabeth calls Bronwyn the worst lesbian ever. I didn't say it. Elizabeth did. She says that Bronwyn doesn't build women up, she tears them down. Bronwyn says, oh, I don't tear women down, I hold them accountable. But she can't seem to hold herself accountable for anything that she does. But okay, they can't stop screaming over each other. Andy yells, all right, a few times, and then they finally calm down. He wants to move on. We all do. So we're back to Bronwyn. They show her package of coming into her sobriety. They don't show all the dark stuff. They do show that mother, and which is why I was on Bronwyn's side at the beginning of the season and felt really bad for her and was cheering her on because she has that mother. But then as the season continued, we saw that she was becoming her mother, and maybe she always was, but she is a wretched person. And they're just talking about like how she was sober while she was pregnant, and they said obviously like there's been times where you could be sober, but she said there's a difference between not drinking and being sober. So she hasn't been sober that whole time. She just wasn't drinking because she still had the addiction, and as soon as she was done breastfeeding, she would go back to drinking. So Kelly jumps in and says, I feel like your alcoholism was just for a storyline. Like right after that. And Bronwyn's like, F you. And just like, oh, Kelly, here we go. I don't think Bronwyn's faking her alcoholism. Kelly says that that Bronwyn's agent is the one who told her to get her act together. Emily says, well, I thought it was your mom. And she tells us the story again about how, like, her mom tried to use this as blackmail. Like, if you don't say all the stuff that you said about me was a lie, that I'm going to tell everybody that you're an alcoholic. So you can be a functioning alcoholic, and I agree with Andy. I mean, it's a real thing. There's plenty of people who do it. So I don't believe that Bronwyn's lying about her alcoholism. But Andy does say that you carry a lot of the same narcissism traits as your mother. I was shocked that he said that, to just go outright and tell her, like, you are narcissistic like your mother. It was like, whew. But I feel like it's the truth. She is. Bronwyn is. Her and that mother, they are like two peas in a pod. And I started to see it once the season got deeper in and she was really struggling with her sobriety. The way she was so vicious with her family, these people who love her, I was just like, this, yeah, I'm seeing all signs of that mother of yours, and it's dark and it's nasty. Okay, Shannon, nobody believes that you don't look at social media anymore. Nobody believes that. But she does say that Bronwyn and Sean came to her house and said, like, their favorite thing to do is to go out and get recognized. And while she's saying that, Bronwyn's just, like, fixing her hair and not denying it. And she admits to it. So it's just like, girl, recognize your narcissism. Just own it. Like Lisa Rinna, own it. Whew. Okay, so Gina and Emily are coming to bat for Bronwyn. They say they feel like she's being truthful with her alcoholism. Andy asked if anyone else had any idea that Bronwyn had a drinking problem. So Shannon finally is going to bring up the news, and she says, like, I guess 2 summers ago, Bronwyn came up to Stella, and before she even says it, Bronwyn closes her eyes like she knows what's coming, which leads me to believe, like, this is true. This is the truth. She closes her eyes, and Shannon says, Bronwyn went up to Stella and said, if you want the good stuff, text me. And everybody's, like, freaked out. Bronwyn's in tears. So, I mean, even with that, like, how she was, hopefully, I believe that she was obviously drunk when she said that to Stella. So this woman has a drinking problem. This woman's an alcoholic. She's admitted it. She said it. I don't think she's faking it. She is a narcissist, and she has some problems, which is why Kelly and other people might feel like she could be lying about her alcoholism, because she lies about a lot of things. But no, this woman has a drinking problem. Goodness. This is messy. But this is the end of the part 1 reunion. Thank God there's only a part 2 and, like, nothing else after that. So we just got one more, and then we're completely done with the OC. But please let me know what you thought of this reunion part 1 in the comments below. Give this video a like and subscribe if you're new. I would love to have you a part of Stuff and Key TV. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you're in the know when I release a new video. And I will see you next time. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.